guys, welcome to part 4 of restoring this lathe. Today we're going to be working on this, the headstock. Now in the first part you saw me disassemble this thing in order to get the belt fitted. However, this time I'm actually going to be stripping the whole thing down, I'm going to be cleaning, I'm going to be painting, and I'm going to be doing any little repairs which are required. Now I'm not going to be working so much on the gears on this part. I think I'm going to leave that for the last section where I do the gearing and the main sort of body of the lathe. So that way I can really focus on getting this thing to a decent condition. Right, let's get started. One adjustment I think I'm going to make fairly early on is to this guard piece here. When this thing's stored out of the way and folded down like you saw in part 1, the motor section is coming down and it's very heavy and it's clunking up against this guard here, as you can see. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm either going to put a little weld with a piece of steel, or I might just screw a bolt through. And similar to like on the belt grinder here, I'm going to add a compression spring on 2 little juts like this, so that when it's not in use, it won't allow the motor to crash into this thing. It might also help in pushing this thing away a little bit and allowing the belt to have a little bit more traction on the pulleys. So I think what I'll do is I'll just swap this bolt out here for a slightly longer one, and then like I say, I'll drill and tap a hole through here with another bolt coming out. Drill and tap a hole through here with another bolt coming out, or I might... Be nice. I think due to the fact that this is most likely cast iron, I don't like the idea of welding, so I'm probably going to add a bolt through on the underside. Now as you can see, this thing hasn't got the greatest amount of clearance between the gear and the casing, so what I'll probably do is just shave down the head of the bolt, so it'll be hard up against the inside of the case, thus still allowing for clearance. Now I know there are going to be people who are not happy with this solution, and they don't like the idea of me drilling into this lathe, but to be honest with you, tough. My lathe, my rules. I've said it before and I've said it again, I don't plan on selling these pieces of machinery and pieces of equipment in my workshop, so I'll do with them as I will. Now I grant you, I haven't been using the protective cover for the gearing much. I'm still going to give that a clean, get all the old paint off, might even be something similar to Japanning, and I'm going to give it a fresh paint coat as well. Now something I've spotted that does slightly concern me is just here on the top of the headstock bearing. I don't know how well you can see, but it's cracked here. This is probably where it's been over tightened around the either brass or bronze bushing here. Now traditionally the way to mend cast iron is by brazing it, however I've never brazed in my life. I'm going to stick to what I know, and I'm going to weld with some cast iron electrodes to see if I can't fix it. Now I know that's going to upset a lot of people again. No. People get really triggered when you hear about welding cast iron, but I'm going to be following a guide from another YouTuber called Brandon Lund. He shows that it's possible to weld a cast iron pan, and the weld actually outlasted the cast iron surrounding it in terms of its strength. So I don't foresee it being too much of a problem, however, famous last words and all, and failing that I can always learn to braze. So first job, I think I'm going to get started on this cover, and then I'll work on this one once the spring has arrived and I can figure out where I want to drill a hole, and then I'll also clean this one off. Just thinking about order of operations, because I've still got the belt attached, I think I'm actually going to remove everything off this spindle and the spindle itself first before I then take the headstock off the lathe. Right, just got back from the grinder with these. I've got all the dirt off them, it's just time to give them a good clean and then a paint. So hitting this bracket with some acetone, it looks a lot like somebody has tried to prepare this before with brazing. You can see this quite different coloured sort of golden strip in here. Looks like it's been bronzed. So before I can actually weld this thing, I need to try and get that out. Now as you can see, this bracket is very loosely held on. I can actually manipulate it with my finger and thumb, make it bend itself. I'm going to grind through this bronzing here, give the whole area a good clean, and then I'm going to try and attempt this weld. Okie dokie, let's see how my stew is doing. Still warm. I think we are probably okay to remove that now. Well, looking at it, I think we did alright. There's no obvious cracks anywhere that I can see, which is the main concern. I'm well aware that there's a lot of pitting and little wormholes in this thing, but just bear in mind this is cast iron, it's full of impurities, and it's not like welding mild steel, so I'm not remotely concerned about there being a few little nicks in there. Now all I've got to do is hope that the weld is strong enough, and yeah, I think that's job's a good one. guess I'm stuck in the garage for a while. Well, that is one big bag of nope. Well, boys and girls, I think I'm going to be leaving it there for this part. There's not an awful lot of point in reassembling this thing until I've finished up the main body of the lathe, because obviously I've got to reattach the belt around the spindle here, so all I'd end up doing is assembling it, disassembling it, and then reassembling it again at the end. So, like I say, I can't see a lot of point in that. Hopefully you enjoyed this part, and if you did, you'd be doing me a huge favour if you would consider subscribing, and always leave a like and a comment if you would. That would be doing me a huge favour, so thank you in advance. I do also have an Instagram, which I'm forever forgetting to mention, which is just PJT Forging. Go and check that out if you like, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next part. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.